Now, one of your promises in your manifesto is that you say that you will increase the quota for affordable housing between the prices of 42,000 to 100,000 to 30% of total houses in every housing project. You mentioned in a video that you posted on social media that this was actually the initial amount but was dropped to 15%. How would you go about doing this when private developers are already used to this new way of doing things?
Yes. See, this is the shift in policy that we see in Selangor. What the Selangor government has done over the years is that it has consciously, probably from the lobby of the developers and so on, it has consciously moved away from providing low-cost housing. Now it has rebranded it as Rumah Mampu Milik, and the Rumah Mampu Milik within the whole price scope, only 15% or even less is where they're building the Rumah Selangorku Jenis A, which is 42,000.
Okay.
So, and the recent development that we also find now is that under the new policy called as Rumah Selangorku 3.0, which was just introduced this year, basically they're completely doing away with the low-cost housing category. So now all houses are going to be called in different names, and they will be priced anything above 150,000, 200,000, 250,000. So this policy change is very is frightening because it is going to push more people who are unable to afford houses.
It'll be easy to actually label these developers as sort of villainous characters who increase the amounts without thinking about the people. But couldn't that just be a result of increasing costs, logistics, material costs?
Actually, because there's one thing about the increase in the building material costs and so on, but the reason Khazanah Research Institute report also shows that this price increase has gone beyond that. So that means there is any sort of correlates with the policy change. So whereby there's a drastic increase starting from 2014 itself in the house pricing compared to the last decade. They transformed it into Rumah Mampu Milik, whereby it's called A, B, C, D. And only A was known as 42,000, the rest was 100, 200 and so on. So with this policy change which happened in 2013, the rebranding exercise, the research actually clearly shows that the price increased exponentially. So there's a big policy change in this, and there was a clear drop in the number of houses where they built in 42,000. So what we are saying is that the government has got the responsibility to provide housing for the people. What the government has done, what the mistake the government has done, I would feel, is that they jumped into the middle market. So that has caused the middle market being that 100,000 to 300,000. They jumped into that and they tried to provide housing for that. They tried to rebrand it as Rumah Mampu Milik. What that has caused is that the existing developers only continue to build houses in the high price range, 400 and so on. What the government should have done, that they should have focused their resources in providing houses which are below 100,000. That would have forced the developers to also try to fill up the middle gap, which is 200,000 and 250,000. So in that way, where the government would have kept its resources and focused on this, and that would have also compelled the developers to meet the market demands. Because now what has happened is that since the market demand, which is still with this 200,000, 100,000 and less, the government jumped into it. So the developers and all that just remain in the high market, and that's why the housing price has always remained 400, 500,000 and so on. And the number of houses has also reduced. So this is where we find that the government should go back to its initial responsibility and just focus on providing houses for the lower income. Because as you said earlier, even though the household income for Kota Damansara might be 8,000 over, only yesterday Rafizi Ramli revealed that the median income, median wage for Selangorians itself, most of us would have thought that Selangorians would be earning tens and thousands, right? But the median wage for Selangorians is only 2,600.
My goodness.
Yes, median wage. I'm not talking about household. I'm talking about
median wage.
Yes, for a person is only 2,600.
My God.
Yes, and so he finds that a lot of other states are earning below 2,000. So we just we usually use a multiple 3 to determine what house you can really afford. So with 2,600, you can only afford a house which is what, 70,000, 80,000, because you use a multiple 3. So in that way, the market which is supplied now is way above the affordability. That's why we find the problem of oversupply of high-rise properties.
A lot.
A lot.
In fact, now they are thinking of introducing the vacancy tax.
Yes. Yeah. So this is a problem that we find that we need to shift back, and that is why the PSM is arguing that if we are able to be elected, that we will argue for this matter.